How can I hear God's voice and discern his guidance?
If you're trying to figure out how to hear his voice and discern his guidance, the first thing you should do is you should stop talking and you should be quiet and you should listen. And so many times when we come to God with questions, all kinds of stuff, we can lecture him for a long period of time and go on monologues. I do monologues. I'm working on that. And, instead of doing that, actually come to God, ask him a question, and then give him time to speak and listen to the Spirit of God that's dwelling inside of you. And so as you listen, you're going to allow just even the Holy Spirit to guide your thoughts, and you're going to say, oh, that's a different thought than what I would normally do. And what I often do is I write it down and I get it out of my head. And then I say, is that biblical? Is that consistent with who God says he is in the word? And I begin to test it and sift it, and I'll submit it to other people around me and say, hey, I was praying and I felt this from the Holy Spirit. Do you think this is God? Is this right? And so I'll sift it and I'm tested. And the Bible talks about this, that it's supposed to be tested where two or three are gathered, there I am. So we always want to be taking what we're sensing from the Spirit as we're listening and as we're taking time to be quiet and allow the mind of Christ to share with us what God is saying and thinking. It's 1 Corinthians chapter 2, if you want to look that up. And then what we want to do is really work that out in community, in love, knowing we see in part and we prophesy in part. If you're struggling to hear from God on what he might be asking you to do, I want to encourage you to check out my course on hearing God's voice and really develop this discipline of getting before the Lord and not just monologuing at him, but listening and hearing his voice and obeying wholeheartedly to do everything he's called you to do.